Hello, dear friends. Allow me to introduce draft survey procedures. Sometimes it is very important to know how to make draft survey. Perhaps many bars does not have electronic scale, and many times it is necessary to determine loaded cargo quantity using draft survey. The first step, it is necessary to measure to determine outer water salinity density. There is Klaipėda port salinity 1.003. Next step, it is necessary to take readings, draft readings. It is necessary 6 draft readings. Forward draft from port and starboard side, the draft on the middle from port and starboard side, and the aft draft from port and starboard sides. After, it is necessary to ask Chief Engineer's report about consumables quantities. Chief Engineer is responsible for consumables quantities. That is why always he has exact consumables quantities. After, it is necessary to send bosun to make soundings and report fresh water quantity. Next very important inevitable action step is to make soundings. Ballast tanks make soundings. It is necessary to find how many tons there are ballast in water ballast tanks. And there you can see the table which there are itemized all ballast tanks itemized, and there is red color. It means the maximum soundings, and there are real soundings which were found together with chief officer and draft surveyor. Next windows, exact tables, there are already exact quantities in every tank. There are maximum capacity of each tank, there are found real soundings, and there are itemized exact quantities in each tank, and there are total ballast, and there you can see there was found that 5,757.53 tons of water ballast. Before, if considering the salinity, there are red color, this is exact color. Just now it is necessary to look at the stability, displacement calculation table. There you can see, for example, it is very important, length between perpendiculars. There are real readings from forward draft marks. There are from the readings from the middle draft marks, and there are from the aft draft marks. And there we can see in black color the means of these figures. Very important is to what is the mean draft on the middle, because the displacement is always found according to mean draft on the middle. Always is very consider the quantities of two corrections. There are two corrections, first trim correction and second trim correction. It depends on the trim and on the distortions, on the bending. It is thugging or hogging. And there you can see that the third correction is depending on outer water salinity, density. And there is found the gross displacement after there are distracted all consumables and total of ballast water, and there we found, and finally we found net initial displacement. After the loading of cargo is finished, it is necessary to repeat the same steps, the same procedures. There you can see it is 6 soundings, 6 readings from the draft marks, but there we can see that the quantities are the same because there was nothing used during loading of cargo. And as you can see in the table, during loading all quantity of ballast was pumped out. And there indicated that the final quantity of ballast in the tanks is zero. And just now we can look at the displacement calculation table. It is necessary to emphasize that always it is necessary to insert their exact correct draft corrections. There you can see that is distance from the real draft mark and forward perpendicular, because forward draft mark is to the aft from perpendicular. That is why this figure is with minus. And there is aft draft correction, because the distance between aft real draft mark and from the aft perpendicular the distance is 7 meters, but because the draft mark is forward from aft perpendicular, that is why there is positive. This figure is positive. And there in this table we can see that the distance is the same, draft correction is the same, because on the forwards is only one draft mark. On aft part of the ship is 2 marks. The next mark is exactly on the center line, and it is 1. When ship is loaded, we can take reading from aft mark, and the distance between aft draft mark from aft perpendicular is 2 meters, 0.75 meters, and because the draft mark is to the aft from aft perpendicular, that is why this figure is minus. And there we can see that blue figures is the figures from draft marks, and there black are mean figures, and the red is mean on the middle, because the final displacement depends on the draft in the middle, and always it is necessary to consider both corrections, first and second, and the correction depending on outer water salinity. And there you can see that we first found gross displacement, and after the all consumables and ballast water quantity was distracted from gross displacement, and finally we found the net displacement. And the last we can see that the quantity of cargo is the difference between initial net displacement and final net displacement. And there we can compare what is bill of lading quantity and what is the quantity of cargo found using the draft survey. And just now we are convinced that the discrepancy is very little, only 7 tons. It means that draft survey is done excellent. Thank you for your attention.